Hello, Fiction of the Peace family. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where in the world are you watching from today? And if you haven't joined our peaceful community yet, hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you become part of our beautiful storytelling family. Now, let's dive into today's story. The room was quiet and dark when Nia woke up. She felt a strong pain in her tummy. The digital clock showed 3:47 a.m. Outside the window of her fancy apartment in Manhattan's Upper East Side, the city lights sparkled like gold stars in the sky. Nia held the soft bedsheet tightly as another wave of pain came. "Gavin," she whispered, touching her sleeping husband's shoulder. "I think the babies are coming." Gavin Carter woke up right away. His pale blue eyes looked at Nia with worry and excitement. He quickly stood up and put on the nice Italian suit he had ready for this big moment. "Breathe, my love," he said gently as he picked up the suitcase he had packed. "I'll call Dr. Maxwell. She'll meet us at the hospital." The drive to New York Presbyterian Hospital felt fast and full of lights. In their penthouse, the private elevator took them smoothly down to the garage. Their driver, Miles, was already waiting with the shiny black Mercedes ready to go. Nia's pain got stronger. She focused on her breathing, just like she had learned in her baby class. At the hospital, Dr. Celeste Monroe, one of the best baby doctors in New York, was waiting with her team. The delivery room looked more like a fancy hotel room. It even had a view of Central Park and the best medical machines hidden around the room. "Everything is going great, Nia," Dr. Maxwell said after checking her. "The babies are in the perfect position." The next few hours were full of emotions. Gavin held Nia's hand and also answered important phone calls. The birth of the Carter babies was not just exciting for their family, but also for the people who worked in Gavin's big business. As the sun started to rise, painting the sky in pink and orange, Nia knew it was time. The room became busy with nurses and doctors moving around. Dr. Maxwell's calm voice helped guide her. "Now, Nia, it's time to push," she said. At 6:43 in the morning, the first baby was born. The second one came just 2 minutes later. Then something strange happened. The room became very quiet. It was a heavy silence, like all the air was gone. Nia was tired but excited to see her babies. She saw that everyone had surprised looks on their faces. Gavin had moved back from her side. His face showed shock and confusion. "What's wrong?" Nia asked, her heart beating fast. "Are my babies okay?" Dr. Maxwell was the first to speak again. She stayed calm and walked over, holding 2 small baby bundles. "Your babies are healthy, Nia," she said as she placed the twins in her arms. Then Nia saw why everyone had been so quiet. She looked at the 2 tiny faces. Their skin was very light, almost like snow. Their hair was soft and white. When they opened their eyes for a moment, they were a very light blue, so light they looked almost see-through. Nia felt dizzy. She looked at Gavin, hoping he would help or explain something. But Gavin stepped farther away. His face now looked angry and confused. "That's impossible," he said in a sharp voice. "Completely impossible." Nia held the babies close, feeling both love and fear. She knew that voice Gavin used. It was the same voice he used when someone lied to him in business or when something threatened his big company. "Gavin, Nia started. "Don't say anything," he said coldly. "Not another word." Then he turned and walked out of the room, leaving Nia alone with her newborn twins and a heart full of fear. Tears slid down her cheeks. She looked at the sleeping faces of her babies, so sweet and innocent, and felt her heart breaking. The sun rose fully over the city, but Nia didn't sleep. She stared at her babies in the crib. These first moments as a mother should have been full of happiness, but now they felt like a terrible dream. Dr. Maxwell came in. Her face, usually calm, now looked worried. "Nia, we need to talk about your baby's test results. There's something interesting." But a man's voice cut her off. "Excuse me." It was Edgar Vaughn, Gavin's main lawyer. He entered with 2 assistants. "Any medical news must go to the Carter family's legal team first," he said. The doctor frowned. As the main doctor, I have a duty. I suggest you check your contract, Edgar said. The Carter family gives this hospital a lot of money. Everything went quiet. Dr. Maxwell gave Nia a sad look and left the room. Mrs. Carter, Edgar said in a calm but serious voice, we have some papers you need to look at. He put a black folder on the table. Nia's hands shook as she opened it. Inside were divorce papers and a secret agreement. Mr. Carter is being generous, Edgar said. You'll get money, an apartment in Brooklyn, and your children's school will be paid for after we check the babies are really his. Where is Gavin? Nia asked in a tiny voice. He is handling things in the best way, Edgar replied. Suddenly the twins started to cry. Nia stood up quickly to hold them, even though she was still sore from giving birth. Mrs. Carter, Edgar said, annoyed. Please remember to be quiet. The press is already asking questions. If you say anything, it could cause problems. Problems? Nia said, holding her babies close. You mean the destruction of my family? The door opened again. Sierra Blake, Nia's best friend and a reporter for the New York Times, walked in. Her eyes were sharp and brave. Nice to see you, Mr. Vaughn, she said. She pulled out a tape recorder. Do you want to comment on the rumor that the Carter family is hiding medical information? Edgar stood up fast. This is private. Stay out of it. Private? Sierra asked. Or a cover-up? After Edgar left, Sierra hugged Nia carefully. This is big, she said. I have sources that say there have been other cases like this in the Carter family, but they were hidden. What do you mean? Nia asked. Changed hospital records, staff paid to be quiet, missing files, Sierra said. Gavin isn't just upset, he's hiding a family secret. That night, alone with her babies, Nia made a choice. She picked up her phone and wrote a message to Marilyn, Gavin's assistant. Tell my husband he can keep his money and his company, but if he thinks I will let my children be treated like a secret, he's wrong. The truth always comes out, no matter how hard you try to hide it. She looked at her babies, Orion and Lyra, so beautiful and special. She felt strong. Gavin had power and money, but she had something more important, the truth, and she would find it, no matter what. A week later, Nia was in a small Brooklyn apartment. It was very different from her fancy penthouse. The walls needed paint, and the floor made squeaky sounds. But it was safe. Sierra had turned the extra room into a research center. Papers and photos were everywhere. A whiteboard showed names and dates from both the Carter and Bell families. Nia's family. I found something, Sierra said. She adjusted her glasses and looked at an old file. Your grandmother, Josephine Bell, was a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital in Louisiana in the 1950s. So? Nia asked while holding Lyra. That's the same hospital where Gavin's grandmother, Clara Carter, had his father, Preston. Sierra smiled, and that hospital had a special department for rare genetic conditions. Nia felt a cold chill. Do you think there's a connection? I don't know yet, Sierra said, but we can't ignore this. Then there was a knock at the door. It was Miriam Sloan, a geneticist Sierra had called. She was an older woman with gray hair and smart glasses. Mrs. Carter, she said, I looked at your baby's tests. Their albinism is rare. It shows a very special mix of genes. While Miriam explained the science, Nia's phone buzzed. A message came from a strange number. I've worked for the Carter family for 40 years. There are secrets that must come out. Meet me tomorrow at 10 a.m. by the lake in Prospect Park. Come alone. Hattie. Hattie? Nia whispered. She remembered the old housekeeper. She was kind, but always looked a little sad. Gavin never spoke of her. Sierra typed fast on her laptop. Hattie Winslow. She worked for the Carter family for many years, fired 3 years ago. No reason given. I remember her, Nia said. She was nice to me. That afternoon, Miriam took more samples for testing, and Sierra kept searching for clues about the hospital. Nia looked through old photos. In one, she saw her grandmother Josephine in her nurse outfit. Behind her was a sign, Sought Genetics Ward, restricted access. Dr. Sloan, Nia asked. What do we know about genetic studies in the 1950s? Dr. Sloan looked serious. Back then, some studies were not done the right way. Some were secret or even wrong. A small cry broke the silence. Orion had woken up. Naya held him and remembered something Gavin once said, that his father had health problems as a child, but he never explained. Sierra, Naya said, find everything about Preston Carter, his childhood, hospitals, anything. I'm already working on it, Sierra said. But they hide things well. This won't be easy. Good thing I still have contacts, Nia said with a small smile. I used to manage Gavin's public image. I know how to find hidden truths. That night, the twins slept quietly. Nia got ready for the next day. Meeting Hattie could be the key to a mystery even bigger than why her babies looked so different. A mystery that might explain why Gavin was so afraid. Tomorrow, she whispered, everything changes. Nia sat on a park bench watching her baby twins, Orion and Lyra, sleeping peacefully in their double stroller. The morning in Prospect Park was cool, and a soft mist floated over the lake. She chose a quiet bench behind a big oak tree, away from people jogging by. A few minutes later, an older woman named Hattie Winslow arrived. She was small and round, with white hair tied in a neat bun. She looked like someone very important, and she held an old leather handbag tightly. Mrs. Carter, Hattie said with a warm smile as she looked at the sleeping babies. Just Nia, please, Nia replied kindly. Hattie sat beside her and looked closely at the twins. They looked just like her, she whispered. Like who? Nia asked. Hattie opened her handbag with shaking hands and pulled out an old envelope. Inside was a photo. A very pale woman with almost white hair was smiling and holding a baby. That's Adeline, Hattie said. She had albinism and was married to Preston Carter. She was Gavin's real mother. Nia gasped, but Gavin said his mother was Marilyn. That's what everyone was told, said Hattie. But Adeline was his first wife. When Adeline started asking questions about the strange things happening at the hospital, they said she was sick and sent her away. Nia stared at the photo, her heart beating fast. Does Gavin know? No, Hattie said. The family never told him. They hid the truth. But the babies, you see, they have the same rare gene. A flock of ducks flew over the pond. Lyra woke up and Nia picked her up gently. Why are you telling me this now? Nia asked. Because I can't keep it secret anymore, said Hattie. Adeline didn't die. She was taken to a hospital far away in Vermont because she found out what the Carter family was really doing. What were they doing? Nia asked. They were doing secret experiments at St. Mary's Hospital. The Carter family wanted to create perfect genes, change people's traits. Adeline found out and wanted to tell people, so they locked her away. Just then, a man in a dark suit walked past them looking at his phone. Hattie stopped talking and watched him carefully. They're still watching, she whispered. But you need to know more. Look for Dr. Elias Bennett in Vermont. He knows everything. Here's the information. Hattie quickly handed Nia another envelope and hurried away. Nia sat with her babies, holding the envelope tightly. She peeked inside and found a letter from Adeline written to Gavin but never sent. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her friend Sierra. I found something in the hospital records. The Carter name is all over it. They did experiments on children. Nia's eyes widened. She looked around and saw a man far away taking pictures with a big camera. Her heart told her this wasn't just a curious person. Let's go home, my loves, she whispered to the twins. Mommy has a lot of work to do. Back at home in Brooklyn, Sierra had turned Nia's small apartment into a secret investigation center. She placed folders and papers on the kitchen table. Nia fed Lyra while Orion slept nearby. I got into St. Mary's Hospital records, Sierra said. Most of them were destroyed in a fire in 1965. But look at this. She showed Nia an old photo of doctors standing outside a hospital. One of them wore a name tag. Dr. Preston Carter Sr., Gavin's grandfather. He didn't just give money to the hospital, Sierra said. He ran a secret program called Project Aurora. It was about studying special genes. What does that have to do with Adeline? Asked Nia. She wasn't just a patient, Sierra explained. She was part of the tests for many years. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Miriam Sloan, a genetic scientist, with an older woman named Agnes Chen. Agnes had worked at the hospital long ago. Mrs. Carter, Agnes said, I worked with your grandmother Josephine. She was more than a nurse. She was a secret spy working for a group trying to stop these experiments. Nia was shocked. My grandma was a spy? A hero, Agnes said proudly. She found out the Carter family was trying to make perfect people by changing their genes. Dr. Sloan spoke up. I studied your baby's DNA. It's not just albinism. Their genes were changed many years ago. This was done on purpose. Then why was Gavin so upset? Nia asked. Because he doesn't know, Sierra said, showing an old newspaper. Adeline wasn't the only one. Many people disappeared after going to that hospital. Agnes pulled out an envelope. Your grandmother gave this to me before she died. She had proof, photos, notes, everything, but she died in a car crash before she could tell anyone. It wasn't an accident, Agnes said softly. Nia remembered her dad saying the same thing. Orion started to cry. Nia picked him up and looked into his eyes. They were pale blue, just like a person in one of the old hospital photos. The genes, Dr. Sloan whispered. They don't disappear, they come back. Suddenly, Nia's phone buzzed again. A new message. Adeline is alive, St. Clair Asylum in Vermont. Come quickly. Sierra quickly looked it up. It's owned by a company that belongs to the Carter family. We have to go there, said Nia. But I'm sure Gavin is watching me. Agnes smiled. I know people who can help us travel safely without being seen. What about the twins? Nia asked. I'll take care of them, Sierra said. I have security guards and cameras. Work. It's safer if they stay here. Nia hugged her babies tightly. It hurt her heart to leave them. I promise I'll be back soon, she whispered, kissing their tiny heads. Mommy will find the truth. Sierra gave Nia a tiny recorder to hide in her clothes. We need proof, she said. Record everything. The plan was to drive to Albany, change cars, and then go to Vermont using a new name. Agnes gave Nia a fake ID. Claire Bennett, a social worker visiting hospitals. As they drove on a dark road, Agnes warned her, Adeline has been locked up for a long time. Be gentle with her. Every car that passed made Nia nervous. At one gas station, she thought someone took her photo, but Agnes said it was just her imagination. Finally, they reached the hospital. It looked like a spooky old castle. Agnes showed her nurse badge, and the guard let them inside. Claire Bennett, a nurse called, Room 237 is waiting. They walked through long, quiet halls. Nia's heart beat faster. In a small room, a white-haired woman sat by the window. Adeline? Nia said gently. The woman turned. Her eyes were just like the twins. She stared at Nia with surprising strength. You have his eyes, Adeline said. Preston's. But there is goodness in you. I need to know about Project Aurora, Nia said. Adeline gave a sad laugh. We were test subjects. Preston's father didn't just want to study genes, he wanted to control them. What did they do? Nia asked. They tested on babies. When I got pregnant with Gavin, they tried to change his genes while he was still in my belly, but something went wrong. Wrong? Nia asked, holding her breath. The genes didn't go away, said Adeline. They waited, hidden like little time bombs. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang in the hallway. Agnes rushed in. They know we're here. Gavin is coming. Adeline grabbed Nia's arm. Go to Preston Senior's office. Mercac. The code is 237891. Everything is in the safe. Protect your babies. Don't let them be test subjects like we were. Come with us, Nia begged. No, Adeline said softly. My time is ending, but you can stop them. You can tell the world. Agnes grabbed Nia's hand and pulled her out of the room quickly. They could hear heavy footsteps coming down the hallway. They rushed through an emergency door and ran to the car. As they drove away from the big, scary asylum, Nia looked in the car's mirror. She saw many black cars entering the parking lot. In one of them, she saw Gavin's shadow. "Where are we going now?" Agnes asked, driving very fast. "To the Carter mansion," Nia said, holding the tape recorder in her pocket tightly. "It's time to open the safe." The old Carter mansion stood tall and spooky under the dark night sky in Westchester County. The windows looked like big eyes watching them. Nia knew everything about the house. She had lived there for 12 years. But now, hiding in the garden with Agnes, she felt like she didn't belong. "Preston Sr.'s office is in the West Wing," Nia whispered. "They turned it into a quiet room after he died. Gavin doesn't let people go in there." Agnes checked her phone. "Sierra says the twins are safe, and Gavin is still in Vermont. He's probably asking the asylum staff questions. They used the old staff door to get inside." Nia still remembered how to turn off the alarm. The code still worked. Gavin hadn't changed it. The office looked just the same. It had dark wooden walls, big leather books, and a large painting of Preston Carter Sr. over the fireplace. His eyes in the painting looked like they were watching them. "The safe must be behind the painting," Agnes said. They carefully moved the big painting. Behind it was a shiny digital safe. It looked new and didn't match the old room. 237891, Nia said, typing the code Adeline gave her. Her hands were shaking. The safe made a soft click and opened. Inside were many papers, folders, and a metal box. On the box was a symbol of the Aurora Project, a rising sun. "Oh my goodness," Agnes whispered, looking at the papers. "These are the original records. Reports, lists, tests. They didn't destroy anything." Nia opened the metal box. Inside were old photos and a diary written by Preston Sr. in very neat handwriting. The first page was from 1950. It said, "The power to improve genes is endless. With Project Aurora, we can find the best genes and change them. Nature gave us the tools. Now we must use them." "Look at this," Agnes said, showing a folder called Phase 2, Early Intervention. Inside were papers about tests done on pregnant women and babies. They were trying to make special babies, Agnes said, but sometimes things went wrong. Some babies were born different. Just then, they heard a sound in the hallway. "Someone was coming!" "Hurry!" Nia whispered. She used her phone to take pictures. Agnes quickly put some papers into her bag. The door opened fast. Edgar Vaughn, the Carter family lawyer, stood there with 2 security guards. "Mrs. Carter," he said coldly, "I didn't expect this from you." "It's over, Edgar," Nia said, holding the metal box. "I know everything about Adeline, the experiments, and what you did to Gavin." "You only know part of it," Edgar said, stepping forward. "This is about evolution, about science. Your family has been strong for generations because of this." "Hurting babies and moms isn't science," Nia replied. Just then, more footsteps came. Gavin appeared. His face looked angry and hurt. "You shouldn't have done this, Nia," he said. "Some doors shouldn't be opened. You don't know the truth, not even about your own birth." "You don't know the truth about your mother either," Nia said. "Ask your father about Adeline, about what they did to you before you were even born." Gavin looked confused for a second. "Your father? Ask him about the Aurora Project and about why our children were born different." Edgar told the guards to move in, but Agnes was faster. She took out a small device from her bag. "Take one more step and I'll send all these documents to every big newspaper," she warned, showing a tablet. "All your secrets will be out." Suddenly, they heard police sirens. Sierra had called the police when things got dangerous. "This isn't over," Edgar growled. He left with the guards. Gavin stayed still, staring at the papers. "You're right," Nia said. "This is just the beginning." The next day, the New York Times was full of activity. Sierra had called an emergency meeting. Nia sat in the room, tired and holding her coffee. "The documents are real," said Caleb Rivera, the paper's expert. "Dates, signatures, stamps, all real. This is huge." On a big screen, pictures from the Aurora Project showed up. There were black and white photos of secret labs, medical records, and people turned into numbers. "But this," Sierra said, "is the biggest secret." She showed a paper about Adeline, Gavin's real mom. They changed her baby's genes before he was born, she said. Nia's phone buzzed. A message from Agnes. Adeline wants to talk to Gavin. She says it's time for the truth. Just then, Gavin walked into the room. He looked tired and older. May I come in? He asked. Sierra told everyone else to leave. Only she, Nia, and Gavin stayed. I read the papers, Gavin said. I learned about Adeline, about what they did to me. You didn't know? Nia asked gently. No, I was told my mother died when I was born. Marilyn raised me as her own. I never questioned it. Sierra showed an old photo on the screen, young Adeline holding baby Gavin. The Aurora Project wasn't just about studying rare genes, Sierra explained. They wanted to make better people. But genes have memory. You can't just change them. The twins, Gavin whispered. They are proof, aren't they? Yes, Nia said. The genes they changed in you and Adeline came back through our children. Just then, Nia's phone buzzed again, a photo of the twins sleeping sent by the nanny. Gavin stared at the picture. Tears filled his eyes. They're perfect, and I almost didn't accept them because I was scared. Adeline is alive, Gavin, Nia said, and she wants to see you. That news shocked Gavin. Alive? All this time? Yes, Sierra said. Her father locked her away to keep her quiet. She wanted to tell the truth, so they said she was crazy. Edgar knew, Gavin said angrily. He always knew. At that moment, the door opened. Agnes came in with a nurse pushing a wheelchair. In it sat Adeline. She looked weak, but her smile was warm. My son, she whispered. Gavin stood still. Then he slowly knelt in front of her. Mom, he said softly. Adeline touched his face. You have your father's eyes, but your heart is mine. Nia watched quietly, her eyes full of tears. Sierra spoke. We need to tell the world the whole story. Yes, Gavin agreed. No more secrets, no more lies. Adeline looked at them and said, Your children, my grandchildren, they show that love is stronger than any experiment. That Sunday, the story was on the front page of the New York Times. Carter family secrets, years of genetic experiments revealed. There were old pictures, secret documents, and shocking stories. Nia's phone rang again and again. Reporters, lawyers, and even leaders wanted to talk, but Nia only cared about one thing: her family. Gavin held baby Orion while Adeline held Lyra. 3 generations together at last. Sierra walked in with more newspapers. Carter Company shares dropped 30%, she said. The board is holding an emergency meeting. Edgar was seen flying out of the country. Let him run, Gavin said. We have proof. He and the others can still be punished. Adeline watched calmly. Your grandfather's empire, she said to Gavin, was built on lies. Maybe it's time to build something new. The doorbell rang. It was Marilyn, the woman who had raised Gavin. Nia wasn't sure, but she let her in. Marilyn stopped when she saw Adeline. So it's true, she whispered. You're alive. Adeline nodded. Thank you for raising my son. They looked at each other. Then Marilyn turned to Gavin. Your father is in the hospital. He had a heart attack after reading the news. Gavin gave Orion to Nia. I'm going to see him, he said. Not to say sorry, he must face what he's done. I'll go too, said Adeline. He needs to see me. As they got ready to leave, Sierra's phone rang. Her face turned pale. What's wrong? Nia asked. I just got a message, Sierra said. The Aurora Project wasn't just the Carter family. Other powerful families were part of it. There are more labs, more experiments. Marilyn stepped forward. It's true, she said. The Carters were just the beginning. Many families and companies were involved. Why are you telling us now? Agnes asked. Marilyn looked down. Because I was part of the project too, just like Adeline, but I stayed quiet for a better life. I've felt guilty ever since. Nia held the twins in her arms. Orion was sleeping, and Lyra was watching everything with her big, curious eyes. These children were not just her babies. They were the truth about the Carter family, and something even bigger. This is much bigger than we thought, said Sierra, reading the new papers. Then we will tell the world, said Nia. Every family, every experiment, every person hurt. It will be dangerous, said Marilyn. These people are powerful. But letting them keep playing with people's lives is more dangerous, said Nia. Her voice was strong. Just then, Lyra started to cry. She could feel the tension in the room. As Nia held her baby, she knew this was not just about the past. It was about the future, for her children and all the children who could be hurt by this. Sierra, get your team, she said. Marilyn, give us every name you know. Agnes, ask your friends who used to work in hospitals. It's time to stop this system. 6 months later, autumn had come. The trees in Central Park were golden. The last hearing of the case, called the Carter versus Aurora Project, had just ended. The world had changed. Nia watched the twins play in their new Manhattan apartment. It wasn't as fancy as their old place, but it felt like home. Orion and Lyra were almost 1 year old. They didn't know the storm their birth had started. Sierra came in with a big folder. The judge accepted all the evidence, she said. The final decision is in. Edgar Vaughn and 5 other leaders got the highest punishment for hurting people. Gavin, who was playing with the twins, looked up. And my dad? Preston Carter Jr. made a deal. He told everything, and now he's under house arrest. He's very sick, Sierra said. Adeline, now living in the same building, sat quietly knitting. She looked healthier. 50 years, she whispered. 50 years of secrets, finally in the light. The investigation found out that many powerful families were doing secret experiments on genes for years. 12 families were involved. The news shocked the world. Governments fell. Companies closed. Medical history had to be rewritten. What about the other families? Asked Nia. One by one, they are being exposed, said Sierra. Marilyn helped a lot. Her story made others talk. Gavin's phone rang. It was from the board of the new Aurora Foundation. It was started with money taken from the bad families. The foundation would help victims and support honest research. The first clinic opens next month, Gavin said. Adeline will be the honorary president. Nia picked up Lyra. The evening light made her hair shine. Are there more children like Orion and Lyra? Yes, said Sierra. Many kids around the world have special genes. Nature still finds a way. Agnes came in with more papers. The Medical Ethics Committee just made new rules for gene research. They call it the Carter Protocol. It will stop bad experiments from happening again. Adeline put down her knitting. Her eyes were full of gentle tears. You know what's funny? My husband's father wanted to make perfect people. But look at these kids. They are perfect just as they are. Gavin hugged Nia from behind as she held Lyra. Orion crawled over, lifting his arms to be picked up. Forgive me. Gavin whispered, I doubted you. I let fear stop me. Nia looked at him. I forgave you, but I won't forget. Our scars show where we came from, and they help us move forward. Sierra laughed. The Times wants to write a big story about you. You changed the world. No, said Nia softly. This is not just our story. It's Adeline's story, Marilyn's story, the story of all the victims. It's about how secrets hurt, but truth can heal. Adeline stood up with Agnes's help and looked out the window. Outside, New York was busy as always, but something had changed. A great truth had come out. What do we do now? Asked Gavin, still holding his family. Now we live, said Nia. We raise our children with love and truth. We make sure the past doesn't repeat itself. Orion laughed. The sound filled the room with hope, a hope not born from science tricks, but from love and truth. After all, said Adeline, looking at her grandkids, the best gift we give is what we teach their hearts. 1 year later, Time magazine showed the twins on their second birthday. Orion and Lyra were playing in their new garden home in Greenwich Village. The headline said, Children Who Change the World. It still feels strange to see our kids in magazines, said Nia, sipping coffee on the balcony. At least now it's for something good, said Gavin. He was reading papers from the Aurora Foundation. So many students want to study honest genetics. We got more applications than ever. Adeline, who spent her mornings with the kids, smiled as she watched them play. Her health had improved a lot. Lyra learned a new word today, Adeline said proudly. She said truth perfectly. Sierra came into the garden with her laptop. After the big case, she became the top journalist for medical ethics. Marilyn, now helping the foundation, joined them. Even China and Russia have agreed to the new rules. And Preston, Dad is different now, said Gavin. House arrest and therapy have helped. He wants to see the kids. Naya looked worried. With supervision, said Agnes. The doctors say it could help everyone. Orion ran up holding a drawing. Stick people showed the whole family. Adeline was in a wheelchair, and Sierra wore glasses. It's beautiful, said Naya, smiling. Her son had drawn their new family, built with love and truth. I got an email, said Sierra. A company wants to make a movie about your story, not just the scandal, the healing too. I don't know, said Gavin. We've already told so much. Maybe it's good, said Adeline, to show others that healing is possible, that families can rebuild. Will Grandma tell? Asked Lyra softly. Yes, dear, said Adeline. I'll tell all the stories, happy and sad, because they are all part of who we are. That night, Nia found Gavin looking at old photos. Sometimes I wonder, he said. Did my grandfather know what his work would do? His science brought people together in ways he never thought. He tried to control nature, said Nia, but it taught us about love. From the kids' room came Adeline's voice singing an old lullaby. Downstairs, Sierra and Marilyn were planning the next steps. Agnes was writing her book about everything. You know what's funny? Said Gavin, hugging Naya. My grandfather wanted a perfect family through science, but real perfection is in love and differences. Orion and Lyra were proof of that. Their special looks were once feared. Now they were symbols of hope. What will their future be? Asked Naya. I don't know, said Gavin, but for the first time they are free to choose it. 5 years after the truth came out, the old St. Mary's Hospital was changed. It was now a center and a memorial for the people hurt by the gene experiments. Nia walked the halls holding Orion and Lyra, now 7 years old. Their silver hair and bright minds made them symbols of a new time. This is where I met your grandma Adeline, said a voice. It was Preston Carter Jr. He looked old and walked with a cane. Dad, said Gavin. He was still careful, but not angry anymore. Adeline rolled over in her wheelchair. So many memories in these walls, she said. Grandma, said Lyra, tell the hospital story again. Before she could answer, Sierra came with a film crew. Their movie had become an award-winning series about science and human rights. We're ready for the ceremony, said Sierra. Marilyn is helping the guests. The old lab wing was now an auditorium. It was full of people who had been part of the Aurora project. Welcome to the Aurora Memorial Center, said Nia. This place was once full of secrets. Now it is full of hope. We have found over 1,000 families hurt by these experiments, said Gavin. Every story shows why ethics matter in science. Orion sat between Adeline and Preston. He watched everything carefully. Grandpa, he asked, were you an experiment too? Preston didn't answer. Adeline touched his hand gently. We were all part of something we didn't understand, she said, but you are part of something better, healing. Agnes, who now led the center's support program, shared new research. Trauma can pass through families, she said, but so can healing. Marilyn spoke about her journey from pain to peace. We each carry this story, she said, and now we're giving it a new ending. After the event, the family went to the garden. Lyra played with kids who looked like her and Orion. Their special traits were no longer scary. They were signs of strength. You know what's amazing? Said Sierra. Something so dark brought so much light. That's the power of truth, said Naya, watching Gavin talk to his father. It can hurt, but it heals. Adeline smiled with happy tears. Her grandchildren ran and laughed. The circle is complete, she said. Where there was fear, now there is love. Where there were secrets, now there is truth. What about the future? Asked Orion. The future, said Gavin, hugging his family, is what we make, one day at a time, with love and honesty. As the sun set over the new center, Nia held her children close. She knew their story would live on, not just in books or shows, but in the hearts of future families. "This is just the beginning," she whispered, hugging them under the evening sky.